77646AN from 1948 to work on. Guy bought a fan from me, and he said his lady friend had this fan that you know needed a screw. Basically, it needs serviced. I mean, we got the stiff head wire, which is usually the case, but boy, the wrinkle finish is great. There's a dent here, which I don't know that I'm going to monkey with trying to get that out. I'd hate to pop off any more wrinkle, although the last one I did, it did not really knock off any more wrinkle finish. So we'll see. Something's going on with somebody's been in there and replaced two of the screws with Phillips heads. I hope they're not just like machine screw or wood screws or something, but because pan's not really on there good. So, but kind of filthy blade, but blade, the paint looks great. It runs. Not. It's in balance pretty good. Little bit out, but switch contacts need a little attention. Basically, I'm going live just so I don't have to have a 90-minute video on my phone. So just gonna kind of do this for record keeping for my work on it. So anyway, first things first. Yeah, I gotta replace that head wire. Boy, look at the twist on that. Oh man, wow. That is some real heavy duty twist action on that head wire. Look at that. I just love that, man. All right, let's see here. Let's get the bullet down and off so we don't even remotely damage that wrinkle finish by laying her back. Wow, quite the big oil mess in here. You know what? I'm gonna put gloves on before I even. So many times I just don't bother putting gloves on. I think, I'm not gonna get messy. And then the next thing you know, I'm like full blown into it. Grease all the way up and down my freaking. Not usually that bad, but. So. Oh crap. Couple of badges I gotta do something with before I forget. Alright, there's that screw. Lots of oil in here, man. I don't know. Somebody had poor aim with the oiling. Alright, and we can bring that down because there's no oscillating screw. Once again, I'm pretty sure that was the original color of these. Okay, and then the wrinkle finish was black, and this paint being transparent looked black on there is all I can gather. Or daylight, UV light caused it to fade from this to that. I don't know. I'm working on that theory. I mean, so for instance, when you take the capacitor out, the capacitor and the bracket have that same exact color on it. Now on every other fan, the capacitor and bracket is painted the same color as the base and the rest of the fan because, you might see through that slot, and that's why they painted it. So, anyway, all right, now let's just leave that. Yeah, let's go ahead and cut this because we're not gonna, most certainly gonna replace that. Just too doggone stiff. I should have cut that in the middle. Oh well. I haven't figured out a way to rejuvenate these old stiff head wires, when they're that stiff. I mean, I'd like to think there was some kind of conditioning you could do to it, but I haven't found it. So. This first, of course. Hang this up. Cage is in great condition. Doesn't have all that build-up crap. You know, usually they get really crusty. Guy said she bought it. She bought a house, and this was just sort of left in the house. What a treasure, boy. Okay, we're gonna have to break out the 3/8 wrench here. Just to break it. Boy, that blade is filthy. Let's just do this real quick, just to, so I'm not shedding all this crap all over. Should probably vacuum it actually, but wow, that paint is in great condition. Gonna clean up fantastic. Yeah, that wing is bent pretty good. Not too bad. I don't know that it's worth strobe balancing it, because you know there's always the risk of taking some paint off with the tape, no matter how much you warm it or try to get the tape, the colored tape or sticker, whatever you use, off. Back. All right, there's that. Now let's see what we got in the way of a divot. Boy, there's oil everywhere. Can't tell if that's it or not. Well, let's stick it in there and see if we can find out. By dead reckoning. Oh, there it is right there. There it is, I think. Yep. Probably should have left that on. Got to be careful with when you're trying to get that blade off, or you'll put it out of clock just by nature of how you're gripping it to twist the blade off. So sounds pretty dry inside. I think when they oiled it, they just shot it in the hole in the bullet and weren't paying too much attention to hitting the hole, the actual tube. Alright, there's the blade. There's that. We'll save the cleaning for another. Okay, there's that. Wow, gearbox has never been cracked. Those screws are perfect. Absolutely, look at that. I always love that when you can tell that the gearbox has never ever been opened or nothing. Well, you can see how perfect those are. I'll save that for now. Let's see, what do I want to do first? Yeah, let's get the gearbox off. Perfect. Good fitting screwdriver. Yeah, that 16-inch I just did, I don't know why, but that thing had the bottom hole did not line up. I ended up having to take and, widen the hole on the gearbox. I don't think it ever had a hole in it from the factory. It was the original gearbox and everything. Was missing a screw. I don't know. Yeah, man, these screws are absolutely virgin. Wow. I just love that when no one's been in it at all, Hey. That. There we go. Wow. Yeah, that gearbox is definitely crusty. Paper plate in here. Usually find another. Oh, that one's got the old grease on it. Alright, well. Put her on here for now. Yeah, that's crusty. Wow. Now, yeah, man, this paint, this wrinkle finish is just so pristine. Okay. Pardon the washer running in the background. The washer, as people seem to think people around this part of the country say. I don't know, I never said it. Never said it like that. Alright. Oh, look at that. You know those studs aren't bent up at all. That thing just slid right off beautifully. Set that over here out of the way so it doesn't get anything dropped on it. Okay, now we gotta get cracked first. Hoping this stator comes out as easily as they usually do. I'm sure it will. This one, boy, the stator looks absolutely mint too. Alright, I gotta find my 1/8 inch driver. Well, I think it is out in the car, in my tool case out there. Gotta do that trick. Sometimes the nuts just you can't get anything on them. You gotta hold them with a screwdriver. There we go. So you get enough meat on them. There we go. Wow, not sure what's going on with that. I don't know what. Okay, there we go. Alright, I need something with a little more leverage here. No. Okay, are these, what's the deal? What size are these? No, they're not 11/32. Yeah, they're 3/8, just like the big one, like the front ones. Plus that one's been swapped out. I think they sometimes did that. some of them like were too close or something, maybe, because it seems like the last one I did had one nut that was a little bit different. It was, you know, obviously still the same thread, but it was a smaller nut size. The hex was smaller. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're making nails with heads. Old German artisan guy I worked with used to say that when we were like really, you know, doing something worthwhile. We're making nails with heads, with his heavy German accent. You know, like you're in a factory and all of a sudden your nails don't have any heads on them. So, you know, then you get back on track and making nails with heads. Yeah, for whatever reason, the threads on this one are kind of jacked. Oh, there it is. I thought I brought it over here. Shit. Oh, which way I gotta go here? Screwdriver. Oh, for God, doggone sakes. Oh, man. No, you're tightening. God damn it. Had it right the first one. I'll just twist it around here because I keep flipping it back and forth between my left hand and my right hand. Plus, my vision in my left eye sucks still. I'm going to have a cataract surgery now. You know, I had a detached retina, and basically having a cataract is part of the, you know, they say you brings it on sooner rather than later. You know, and I thought they meant, oh, you know, 5 to 7 years as opposed to 10 to 15. No, pretty much right away if you want your eyesight back to normal. So that sucks. Yeah, I don't know why the threads on this one are just jacked. I don't know if that screws in there. I'm tempted to go get my damn cordless drill and just... Alright, now we got her by hand. Wow. Yeah, I have no idea why this one is just... Yeah, stator head wire on this one ought to be easy peasy, man. It's in such nice shape. Probably use some of Tony's wire on it. Wow. Well, maybe I'll run a tap down that one. Or a die, whatever. Come on, gloves. Jesus. I want to be sure and put the bad one with the, you know, the stud with the same one, the same nut with the bad screw, because yeah, I just love that they went to this system with the screw out stator studs instead of the, like on the 29646 and, you know, earlier models, well, everything before the 77 essentially. You know, you just got the studs that screw into the back of the motor housing, and just makes for, you know, a little more persnickety way of doing things sometimes. So it's tough too. What's going on with this one? Bolt head on the back of this be the only other improvement instead of the damn flathead slotted screw head. All right. Okay. But yeah, just look at that stator, how clean that is, man. I mean, obviously it's greasy and whatnot, but of course they're usually in pretty good shape on these. They're not tore up like they are on, you know, vastly earlier models. You know, they're usually so. Well, leather washer's got a little bit of life left in it looks like. All right, put that away. Put that back. Put that away. Got to get better at kind of putting things away as I go, because otherwise, man, I just end up with shit everywhere. Still do it, but. All right, now actually we need these. I always like to do this way so I don't crush that end of that spring as opposed to that way. So. Usually doesn't take much force at all, so that was easy. That'll probably go in the ultrasonic. All of this probably will. Alright, here comes the stator. Oh, wow. Well, that's odd. That's probably just built up. Alright, so there's one on the front. Yeah, man, this thing, definitely lots of buildup. I can't even get the rotor out. Wow. Holy moly. Gunky. Let's see, do I got a crapped out blade I could put on here and use the blade to pull it out with? Build two. Nothing I want to destroy though. Wow. Unless that's just, I mean, there's no way that's got something to do with the stator being out of whack, you know, like shimming or whatever. And there's no way it moves just for me taking it out. Taking the screws out. Let's see. Let's stick a gap tool in there just for shits and grins and see if we can. Oh yeah. A little tough right there, but no, I think that's just gunk, man. Wow. Let's see, should I put a Well, a couple things I could do here, but I'd really rather just did one of these one time where there was this nasty yellow, I mean, it almost looked like liquid nail. Just the whole nose was built up with this stuff. I don't know what somebody put in there, maybe spray lithium grease. Wow. Yeah, that was the problem. There's just a bunch of goop in there for sure. Wow. All right, so there's that. This goes on the front. We'll just put that there. Now we'll replace it though. All right. Wow, again, it's pristine. Oh, is that a crack? Well, that might be a crack right there. What do you know? Better get a close-up of this. That looks like it's bulged out. Oh, man. This side looks good. So that sucks. Proceeding, but we're going to go ahead and get rid of this cord. It's not original, it's not in great shape, fairly stiff. Alright, got that out of the way. Alright, so now I think we can use our same. And then on that last fan, these screws were copper plated. I thought that was interesting. I hadn't noticed that before, at least on the sides. Couldn't really see much evidence of any on the, either any remaining or that they ever were on the, you know, the face. But boy, that would look nice. Oh boy. I wonder if that's original grease. Shouldn't need to be untightened, but we'll go ahead and loosen these up just for shits and grins. Yeah, man, this thing is just all stiff with grease. Oh, God. Lordy, no, it ain't these still. Yeah, no, that's not the issue at all. Whew. Oh, there it is. Oh, man. Wow. All right, we'll set that down gently there. Boy, I hope that isn't cracked. And that's above the area where that recess is. So if it is, oh, dumbass probably could have Boy, that wing nut is in great shape too. Barely looks like it's ever been. There we go. Again, this video is more for me, just to have a record of this. I don't have to have a, hours long video on my phone. Well, that could just be the paint cracked. I'll have to look at that with my loupe, see what I can. Wow, it's like virgin aluminum right in here. I've never seen one to have a strip that clean. I don't think this thing has ever moved from the original, from that position. That's amazing. That's the only thing that explains having that pristine bit of aluminum with no grease on it. Wow. Just don't know why doesn't look to be cracked, so that's good. Oh, and you know what? This one doesn't have that little negative space there that the one did that I just worked on, with the one that broke. So that's interesting. All right, so there's that. All right, let's see what we can do about getting this stator out. Tell you what, let's put another piece of foam down here. All right, so now we're gonna do if this doesn't work, I'm gonna have to put it in the freezer. Let's see if I can point you down here at my floor. Oh yeah. Usually these come out pretty doggone easy. So basically gonna stick this. Ideally this should be a little bit bigger, but and then we just give her a couple of love taps. And there she is. There she is. Oh shoot. Except I should have dealt with that first. Take that. Oh. All right, let's straighten you back up here. This ring they put around here just really is kind of dumb. All right, and there she is. Wow, that's interesting. I don't know if that's kind of a friction tape there, or I haven't seen that before. Just sort of a ring of either fish tape. Yeah, or I think that's just fish paper, I mean. Huh. All right. that. There's that. Put this one right here. Leave the stator on that one. Okay. I was kind of like, you know, deciphering the original work here to see how they button this up. Oh, shit. Uh-oh, where? Okay, my fiber washers stayed on there. Looks like we got two that I would guess are 1/32. This one's got a blue paint mark on it right there. Last one had a red one. Doing this, but just kind of like to. I like to see the same handiwork of the original handiwork of the soldering and the connections, and it's usually not that beautiful, frankly. I am so glad to have found a really good brand of friction tape. This Gardner Bender. Get this on Amazon. Gardner Bender, I think it is. I got about 4 rolls I stocked up on because, you know, who knows, the way they change crap these days. That one's cracked there, so that's where we'll make that connection. And I sometimes like not going to be possible to see the original. The last one they were all sort of, you know, tan wires with, one had a green tracer, one had a red tracer, and one was blank. I suspect this is probably going to be the same. Bunch of whipping there with, I don't know if that's been varnished or shellacked, but it's pretty, oh shit. Layers of whipping, or is that the head wire? There we go. Just out of curiosity, because, you know, if I don't have to ohm this thing out and I could just do it by, you know, matching the colors up. I mean, I'm kind of getting to where I kind of know, but not really. I still have to look at the wiring diagram on these, and there's no figuring out what color this is. See, what I should have done, well, it's so hard getting that stiff head wire through the opening of that access panel. But what I could have done was unwind it and seeing if I could like, you know, what I did on another one was, you know, stripped away the casing, the overbraid, a few inches, and I was able to get a bead on the colors. But it's all right. We'll just ohm this out and use the wiring diagram to figure out what goes where. Should have it memorized by now, but I don't. Is that a green? Is that our green tracer? I wonder if I took a picture of my notes for the wires last time, or if it's on the back side of that. Nope, ain't on the back side. Oh. No, it's a different one anyway. That's just the ohm notes. Turn on our trusty 77646 AS. Blow some air across this since I'm using acetone. No. Anyway. Yeah, I think I'll just go live on every step of this fan. I do a little editing, but boy, the whole like trying to speed through, you know, do the thing where you speed through and all that, I just, you know, so I just figure I'll go live. I think that's our green tracer. Yeah, these might need, these are a little stiffer than the last one. These might need encased and shrink wrap. I hate doing that because I just hate how stiff that stuff gets over time, but you know, it's still a better choice than just leaving the dry, brittle, crusty wires exposed. All right, well, we ain't gonna worry about that. Alright, take these glasses off. Wearing the readers is just jacked up because I don't want to wear them too often because my eyesight, my left eye is just different from the right one. Not that my right one is fantastic, but it's just like crazy. It makes your brain hurt. This is pretty clean in here. Dirty, but it's not got a lot of like oily, gunky stuff, you know. But yeah, that bearing, wow, that shaft and bearing really needs cleaned. It's pretty freaking filthy. on the windings, which we won't. All right, that's pretty good. Now, let's figure this out. Clip that from now right there. Might need to run and get another box of these heat shrink from Harbor Freight because I don't think I have a good size. Actually, these would be perfect. Sometimes I like to put these on there and not shrink them. Ooh, that goes on there, but boy, it's tight. I don't think I'd get it on. Because I just, I feel like not shrinking them. There we go, there's a thicker one. Might, will keep it from shrinking up. Or getting hard, Alright, I think these are a little bigger. Cut on that. Well, if I get those completely straightened out, I might be able to do it, but I'm not going to get that on there with a curve. There we go. All right, that makes me feel better. I think I'll be able to get those sleeves on there. Hate putting one on there that's too big. All right, that one's got a, man, I hate to make that short, but I'm gonna have to. shorten that one a little bit. All right. Using the 16 gauge slot, and that's perfect. Oh, come on, perfect. Get on there. I don't really want to think of this as putting heat shrink on as much as just, you know, putting a sleeve on here. And, you know, it'll get shrunk because I'll warm it up to push it, to bend them back into shape. Because, you know, you got to bend the original wires just like you got to bend the new head wire you're putting on there. Oh, I can't get it to go on anymore. Wasn't warm, was it? Damn it. I really don't want to use the thicker stuff. That looks like the same stuff. So does that, so does that. I got this thicker one, but man, I don't really want to go that route. And I don't have more of this. I got like one. There's just no reason to go into the stator for this. You know, like on some of the older motors that are just all kinds of just, well, the smaller motors for sure, like whatchamacallit, Juniors and Swans, you know, you can go all the way in and it's not too bad. But, you know, the last one I did, I had to just, I took the head wire inside there because it was just a mess. Not actually, that was on the, what was that? I think that was on a 1510 I worked at, a real early one, worked on. I didn't have to do that obviously on the last wrinkle finish. Yeah, so what I'll do is when I get this soldered, then I will warm this up in order to bend it to where I want everything to go, and that'll shrink the heat shrink as well. So, but I'm gonna leave them out for purposes of all right, you know what, time for the gloves to go because I can't do jack. Okay. See, I'm always interested in how they did their connections. They basically, looks like they wrapped wire around them, which I often do. I don't know. I can't tell if they wrapped the two conductors together and then bent them down or what, but up a little bit. Pretty pristine once I took that insulation off. Alright, so there's that. Let's see, what are we going to use? Some Tony wire? Yeah, why not? Not real pleased with the head wire that I made. That I used on my last one. The overbraid that I put on it, it just doesn't seem to, just doesn't want to stay tight. I'd love to use it because I like working with it. Sometimes this double layer of a cloth wire on the actual, on the individual on the individual conductors is kind of a pain sometimes. I had another 77 twisted style. Yeah, but see, these are non-colored conductors. See, the twist on that should be about like that to mimic the original. And it kind of is, but it just doesn't really want to stay there. It's pretty good though. Maybe I'll just use some of the triple black 3 conductor I got up there. Since the color doesn't matter now anyway, since I couldn't tell what color was what, yeah, we'll just do that. I'm getting better too at selecting the right length. I always tend to go a little bit longer than I think I can get away with though, because I like having that little bit of extra room down at in the base. I'm not going to bother ohming this stator out since I did have it on and it works, so. I don't know if 2 thumbs up, show chat. Is there a chat? I don't know what that is. Oh shit, what'd I do? Alright, well, anyway. Sorry, I'm totally new to this live crap. we'll do some whipping as was on there originally. Let's see, is there any way to... Okay, that was way too much string. So whipping, we're going to pull that through nice and tight. And then snip it. Get rid of some of those fuzzies. All right, that should be, yeah, that's plenty long. Should have probably left one of these shorter than the other, but I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, let's get our I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take our one strand of copper here. I like to tie a half of a square knot. Oh shit. Well, let's do it the other way I prefer to do it, which I forgot. I do half of my square knot. Put the wire through it. And just gonna kind of push the wires together. This makes for an amazing connection. Woe to the guy that ever has to undo it. There's not a lot left of head wire there. I mean, there's enough, but I just, you know. And I'm going to go ahead and solder this one so that I don't pull it off, because, you know, as tight as this wrapping is on here, it is not to the point where it may not, oh shit, that was grease. You can still kind of pull it off, you know. I used to do this side-by-side connection where you basically tin each conductor, and then you tin the tip of your, put a little blob of solder on the tip of your iron. You get them situated side by side like this, and then you just touch them with the iron, and it just, and it's a good connection, but I don't know. I still do it sometimes in some situations, and I didn't put heat shrink on this. That's okay. I'm just going to use all friction tape. I don't mind going a little higher, a little thicker with the friction tape. Need to put a new tip on this, but you know what? Let's tin it. I don't know that we need to, but why not? We're here. The lid. Oh. Beautiful. Oh, phew. Damn it. I really didn't want to soak up much, did it? Yeah, I don't really know the finer points of solder tip management like I should. Pick up a bunch of dirt. All right, so there's one. Beautiful. Yeah, and that heat shrank up already right near, of course, near the heat. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna push that wire into the other wire coming out of the stator. Doesn't work sometimes if your conductors if your strands are twisted. It's better if they're not. Okay, now we'll grab another one of these. Forgot to make my frickin', we'll just pull it off and do it again. So basically there I'm just making half a knot. I guess that's called a square knot, right? Push it back on there. Ow, fuck. Great, and now I put it in there. Here's another one. I think that's good enough. Trim that tight. It's too short to do anything with. Man, that one hurt. That was definitely not the new head wire. That was the stiff old, I don't know, man. That shit's like 8 strand. Blob of tinning or freaking whatever the fuck, flux. Wipe this off while it's hot. Alright, there's 2. Alright, take our other strand of wire here. Knot, half knot. And this really probably ain't necessary. I don't know, but I'd just rather not fuss with trying to hold the 2 pieces. I never get this thing to work great. I don't know, but I'd rather just be doing it cold and dry instead of trying to, you know, hold it in perfect position while it's wet or while I'm trying to solder it. Is not wanting to go anywhere, or not wanting to stay. Yeah, stuff is, God, it's got to be only about 8 conductor. Ah. Shit. See, that's the problem with not having different lengths. This head wire, this particular conductor is a little too short for what I'm trying to do. It's just kind of, oh shit, there went all my, could probably just solder it because it's pretty much right in the right position, but then I like the wire wrapping around it because it just keeps it nice and tidy. You don't get a bunch of, like, you know, wires flying out. I mean, obviously if you twist it you don't, but just sometimes there's not room to do that. I think we're gonna just call that a day on that one, like that. Yeah. All right, I got to get a new set of these little bitty ones. I love them, but they've dulled out to the point of barely being able to cut. All right. Turn that off for just a second. All right, now I always want to make sure I don't got any like hard points sticking out before I tape them. Ow! Still hot. I wonder, can I get a phone call or a text while I'm live streaming? I almost don't think I can. All right, that's good. Let me just see what I can do here. If I close this out, will it close it out? It's still going. All right. So yeah, so now I'm just friction taping my joints. Probably ought to get a better way of taking videos, you know, so that I can not have to do this live and then I can edit them. I just, you know, for longer videos like this, I can't. I usually got so much storage on my phone. The last time I tried to take a longer video, it stopped, you know, ran out of memory, you know. So I started doing the lives. Okay. One more. All right, let's put the friction tape away. Keep it in this little baggie. I don't know if it's necessary, but I feel like it. I like to think it helps keep it sticky. I went through so dang many types of tape trying to figure out, you know. And you know, you get a suggestion from somebody and it ain't right, or they're thinking you're wanting it for something else, and you know, like this stuff here, this Tessa or Red Wolf is actually kind of nice stuff for certain things, but I wouldn't wrap a solder joint with it. But you know, I guess okay for wrapping around a stator just for protecting the coils. But you know, definitely not for this. I just don't feel like it's. All right, so now I need to warm this up so that I can reposition these. The original wires need to kind of bend. Turn that off. Okay, didn't really do that as much for the heat shrink as I did for, you know, just trying to get everything nicely back bent so that it nestles nice against the windings. I think if I can get some string through there, find that piece of string that I cut and just use it. Yeah, well, it's nowhere to be found, of course. I think that goes about like that is how that's supposed to go, because yeah, right in the middle. So if we can just secure it like that. This wasn't there on the first one, but I kind of like doing this just to help hold things in place for reinstalling into the motor. Ideally, so there's what I got now. And ideally, I think I want to bring this up and do one more tie right there to keep basically to put the head wire about exactly where it needs to be. Maybe it don't need to be there. Not sure I can get the string through. Went through that way real nice. Emerson sort of fancied their that little access panel as if it was a means of not having to take the motor apart to do a head wire. And I mean, I guess if you were replacing the head wire, you know, 10 years, 20 years maybe, when the wires are still pretty soft, but yeah, not gonna happen on anything older than it just doesn't work. You just can't pull that access panel out and expect those wires to just come out nicely. All right, there we go. Okay. That, I'd say, is a pretty good job. Pretty much exactly where it needs to be in relation to the hole and housing. So, all right, so there's that. I think that might be enough for tonight. I don't want to do anything else until I get everything cleaned inside the motor, the bearing, the shaft, and all that. So then we can drop that back in. But yeah, that's a nice head wire job. Yeah, time to get some more heat shrink tubing so that I have a better assortment. You know, you end up using all the ones that are the certain size you use, and then the other ones you just end up being left with. So I need to just chuck all those. I mean, you use them on occasion, but not nearly as much as, you know, the certain sizes that you need for attaching head wires and whatnot. All right. Yeah, that's amazing. I really don't think this thing was ever adjusted at all. I just can't get over that perfect clean spot. See if you can bring it in and show you that. See that perfect clean spot there? No grease or oil or nothing smeared across it on both sides. So that tells me that that thing was pretty much locked in that straightforward position and never moved. That's just kind of unbelievable. Now, I did investigate this situation here. See what we got in terms of, do I have anything? Yeah, I do have a Phillips. Yeah, on occasion I've had to use a Phillips just because, but I was at a, okay, good. Looks like a proper screw. Never seem to have enough of these damn magnetic trays. Thank God for Harbor Freight, though. Boy. Okay, so there's that. Yep, there's our, yep, look at that. Our felt, it's black, so that's nice. All right, let's see if we got a mark on this. Usually, sometimes, last one had a red mark on one side, and that wire went to the hot lead, which it really doesn't matter, but I just thought it was interesting that it had that on there. Tell you what, we'll cut that one there, and we'll cut that one up a little bit, and we'll put that down. All right, there's that. Let's Not too filthy. It's a little bent, so yeah, we're gonna have to do some work on that to get that unbent up. Make sure the lids are on all my solvents. Yeah, that's pretty bent up, so. All right, put the Phillips away. For the Phillips. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to kind of bang this thing back into, wrangle it back into shape. I did buy at a estate sale recently, right here, these. Now they're too big. Dadgummit, I forget. I thought these were 1032. It looks like they are 832, but oh well. I'll use them for something, I'm sure. Idea being that I'd have to cut them down lengthwise. I knew they were too long, but pretty sure those are, yeah, those look like 832. All right, yeah, this thing has definitely seen better days. Pretty bent up. Very light coat of copper paint across the face. Oh, there's our red. Kind of weird that it's in the middle though. Very light coat of copper on there. Just a brush drag across it. Sure, this is a 1.5. One of these I did had a fingerprint on it. It was kind of cool. In paint or something. I can't tell what that says, but we're gonna keep this original one in here just because it looks pretty nice. I don't freak out over these. They got PCBs in them. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know how long the cheap ones, the cheap China-made ones we get are gonna last. So, you know what? I'll just take my chances with these. All right, there's the cap. Rust or grease? I think that's rust. All right. Right there. Yeah, usually they have about as big a swatch of paint across there, you know, the bracket. Wow. Yeah, this thing is bent bad. All right. Probably gonna have to break out with the ball peen hammer, I think. Need that. Where were these at? Alright, I'm gonna have to go over here and do this. On some plywood on the floor. Well, that's better. Boy, I have no idea how that thing got so warped. Big bow in the middle, and probably could still use a little work here on this edge. Let me go over to the big anvil, or the big vise. I'm going to drop that in the ultrasonic. Those don't really need it. Just go ahead and drop these in there. Drop this in there. Not that. Not that. Not sure if these are painted or what that is. Kind of looks like it has a little bit of a finish on it, but I think we'll just leave those out. Go ahead and put those bits in there. Oh. do a couple cycles of that. Get the switch out of here, because that's going to need some cleaning and some adjusting. Where did the handle screwdriver go? Oh, right there. Okay, that doesn't look like, maybe it is. Doesn't quite look like the original screw, but maybe. Off. All right. And I always like to put these back in. Such tiny little screws. Yeah, that's weird on that 16-inch. I swear that hole was bigger. And there was a recess there, which was great because it allowed me to make the repair. But I wonder if that's why it broke, because there's less metal there. You know, if you can just imagine there being like a 1/4 inch deep recessed area, it looked like a milling tool, like about a 3/4 inch or inch wide milling tool, flat top, had to come up for whatever reason. I mean, there's really not even a reason to have a hole here because the head wire doesn't pass through here. So I don't understand why there even has to be a hole if they were just trying to cut down on weight and then, recycle all those shavings. I don't know. Yeah, wow, this wrinkle is not going to take much to clean up. I will do the paint touch up on here. That'll be nice. Cleaned up pretty nice. It's going to take more work, but I don't know what that is. If that's, I have no idea. There's definitely not a crack there. I don't think that's on the castings on the other ones. I'll have to look, but could be a casting imperfection. I don't know. That's odd. Usually casting imperfections are, you know, little holes and craters and divots, not, you know, that sort of thing. Alright. Yeah, that wing nut was never used. Alright, well, that's going to take a little bit more work to clean, but that's pretty good. Yeah, that's going to need little attention here on the lugs for just go ahead and do this real quick. It's not the prettiest way of doing it, but what you do is basically lift this whole mechanism up and over that, and then you can bring it out here and back and bend this down a little bit. Clean it all up real good. Oh, damn it. What the fuck? Well, that's bent up like crazy. I don't even know how that's not making absolutely great contact, so. Wow. That's strange. All right. All right, that feels pretty good. Wow. The laminate stack is in great condition. Yeah, you wonder how so much oil gets everywhere, you know. Guess that's why they have that hole, so it runs down here instead of on the outside on the finish. I don't know. I mean, that makes no sense, but you know, go down inside the switch. Why do you want that? Alright, well, gonna have to clean those bits up, so put those in there for now. Like that. That's a really short laminate stack. Wow. Alright, I think that's good enough for tonight. Alright, how do I end this thing?